Lomo Saltado is the result of two worlds colliding on a single plate, where the high-heat techniques of China meet the vibrant, earthy ingredients of the Peruvian Andes. It is a dish that defies culinary convention, serving up a double starch of rice and potatoes that feels like a contradiction until you take that first savory bite. To understand why this stir-fry is the heartbeat of Peruvian home cooking, we have to look back to the mid-19th century. Peru was undergoing a massive transformation, and the labor force was shifting. Thousands of Cantonese immigrants arrived in Peru to work on railroads and coastal plantations. They brought with them their most essential tool, the wok. In the cramped, bustling kitchens of these workers, the traditional Chinese stir-fry began to adapt. They didn't have access to all the ingredients they were used to back home, so they looked to the local markets. They found beef, which was plentiful, and they found the staples of the Andean diet, potatoes and corn. This was the birth of Chifa, a unique culinary fusion that is now inseparable from Peruvian identity. The word itself, Chifa, is thought to be derived from the Cantonese phrase for eating rice. It represents a marriage of cultures that wasn't just about survival, but about innovation. The Chinese chefs took the technique of the saltado, the quick, high-heat toss, and applied it to the ingredients that defined the Peruvian landscape. The magic of Lomo Saltado lies in its specific chemistry. You start with high-quality sirloin, sliced into strips. When it hits the scorching hot wok, it sears instantly, locking in the juices. But the real character of the dish comes from the aromatics. Red onions and tomatoes are tossed in for just long enough to soften but retain a slight crunch. Then comes the liquid gold, a splash of soy sauce, which provides the umami, and a dash of vinegar, which cuts through the richness of the beef. But you cannot talk about Lomo Saltado without addressing the edgy amarillo. This bright, sunny yellow chili pepper is the soul of Peruvian cuisine. It isn't just about heat. It provides a fruity, complex depth that balances the saltiness of the soy. Without it, the dish loses its sense of place. It anchors the stir-fry in the Andes, reminding you that while the technique is Asian, the heart is undeniably South American. Then, there is the famous double starch. To an outsider, serving rice alongside French fries might seem like a carb-heavy excess. But in the context of Peruvian history, it is a masterclass in balance. The rice acts as a neutral canvas, soaking up the savory, acidic sauce that pools at the bottom of the plate. The potatoes, meanwhile, are fried until golden and crisp, then tossed into the wok at the very last second so they absorb just enough of the sauce to become tender without losing their texture. It is a textural symphony. The crunch of the onion, the tenderness of the beef, the softness of the tomato, and the satisfying bite of the potato. Over the last century, Lomo Saltado has moved from the humble kitchens of railroad workers to the menus of the most prestigious restaurants in Lima. It has become a national treasure, a dish that every Peruvian family makes in their own way. Some might add a splash of pisco to deglaze the pan, creating a flame that sends the flavors soaring. Others might serve it with a fried egg on top, a variation known as lomo a lo poba, or poor man's style, which adds a rich, creamy yolk to the mix. This dish is a living history lesson. It tells the story of migration, of resilience, and of how two distinct cultures can blend to create something entirely new and better than the sum of its parts. It proves that the best food doesn't come from rigid rules, but from the willingness to adapt. When you sit down to a plate of Lomo Saltado, you aren't just eating a stir-fry. You are tasting the journey of a people who traveled across the ocean, found a new home, and changed the culinary map of the world forever. It is a reminder that the most iconic flavors are often the ones that were born out of necessity and perfected through generations of love. Whether you are eating